Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the day that I talk about the tools and different practical things that you can use in order to get through things while you're doing your shadow work. So, that being said, I do have notes again because it's how I operate. Number one, journal prompts, sorry. You can do things like sentence stems. Sentence stems are goal oriented. So for example, I would feel blank if, and then you write and just let it go. If you have a time limit that you can do it in, that's great. But the more you write, the deeper into your subconscious you will get. And then there's the freestyle where you just start writing and you just go. And then there's also springboards. So you can use a word or a statement. Usually how I use it is I have my client make a statement, and then based on that we'll take like the action word or like the major word in the sentence, and what we'll do is we'll write it vertically, and then each letter is like its own phrase, its own word, and whatever comes to your mind first is, what you would put down on that line. So say, somebody says, I feel so hurt. So you would take the word hurt, H-U-R-T, and then you would go in and do H, healing, or, you, unapologetic, R. And then you could even say something like no remorse, or no way I'm gonna feel unrestored, or that's a bad example, sorry, but you know what I'm saying. And then you could do T, timeless, something like that. So as far as the journaling goes, there's a lot more. I do have more options in my book. These are totally different, by the way, than the ones that I did put in my book. So something to think about. You can order it on Amazon. Shadow to light work. And then next set, these are going to be conscious exercises. These are things that you can do in the moment or as you're consciously thinking. They don't necessarily get into the subconscious root of things. But by changing your conscious mind, you can change your subconscious mind. Rewrite those patterns, rewrite the behaviors, rewrite things, right? So organic language, I know I've said this before, but organic language is so important. The way you speak about yourself, the way you speak about others, and just in general, the way you say things. So important. Okay? If you don't like something, you don't necessarily have to correct yourself in that moment. You can take a mental note and say, I don't like the way I phrased that. Let me work on, the phrasing of said, whatever it is, right? Or I don't like the way I spoke to that person because I was blank, angry, upset, sad, I don't know. Whatever it was, you can change how you speak. If you want to take a moment before responding, no guilt, no shame in that, right? Be more thoughtful of the words, not only in your mind, but the words that come out of your mouth. Okay? You can do box breathing. It's breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then holding for 4 seconds before you take that next breath. I personally have a larger lung capacity, and I like to do 6 seconds with this. So you take in for 6 seconds, like counting, and then holding for 6 seconds, exhaling for 6 seconds, holding for 6 seconds before you start that breath. You can do repetitions of this. What it does is it calms your central nervous system and essentially resets your vagus nerve. So it works for hiccups, things like that too. Just any kind of fight or flight mode that you might get into, you can try box breathing. And honestly, nobody really has to know that you're doing it. Yeah. It's just gonna look like you're breathing, or, something you can do silently. And then you can have conscious conversations with yourself, with people who are not there, or, with your higher power, whether that's God, Allah, whoever. Have those conversations out loud. It helps change your mindset internally and subconsciously. And then you don't have to criticize yourself for it or feel judgment or feel anything. I mean, I prefer to have conscious conversations with myself in the privacy of my own home because, people might think you're schizophrenic or something. But really talking things out can help you kind of wrap your head around certain things. It can help you just vent it out. And in this process, you can also take the time to release, whether that's crying, whether that's getting angry, any sort of way that helps you get back to that, okay, I'm okay type energy. Okay. Lastly, another tool is meditation. You can visualize things as well. Visualize yourself walking down a path, coming into contact with certain things. You can really make this as creative as you want. But you can also do meditation with like a thought, a question, or an issue that you want more clarity on. So essentially what you would do is, this is how I teach meditation because I like to use this in my hypnotherapy practice. So what you will do is you'll find a point in front of you that is slightly above eye level. Focus on it. Wait for your eyes to naturally want to close, just blinking normally until you get to that point where you're ready to close your eyes. And then in your mind, you're going to count backwards, keeping your eyes elevated because that's what helps get you into that subconscious level. So keeping your eyes elevated, count backwards from, you might want to start from 100, you might want to start from 50. It doesn't matter. It's more or less a practice, and then the more you do it, the easier it'll be to get in that state. And while you're doing that, just focusing on your question, your issue, your thought, sorry, I just hit the mic. Focusing on, whatever it is that you're focusing on. And then once you do that, you'll feel, once your eyelids get a little flickery, like you feel your eyelids start to flicker, that usually means that you're right in that sweet spot. You've dropped your brain waves down to the level that you need to go into hypnosis and or meditation, whichever way you want to look at it. And then focus on that thought, that question, that issue. Let your mind go with it. That's really important. Just let whatever comes up, come up. Because those are the things that you're retrieving from that subconscious level. Okay? You can imagine you're walking down a path. You can imagine that you're, walking up a flight of stairs. You can imagine that you're overlooking a view of some place that you find, majestic and peaceful. Something like that. If you want to go that visual route. And then once your answer comes to you, you can, wake yourself up. I use it in hypnotherapy. It's 1, 2, 3, eyes open, wide awake, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, eyes open, wide awake, whichever one works best for you. You can, count descending, ascending. It doesn't matter. It's just a phrase that will get you in the habit of knowing, like, okay, we're coming out of, the meditation. Because it does drop your brain waves. Don't operate heavy machinery, equipment, those kinds of things until you feel like you're back to normal, like you're awake, essentially. Because you'll kind of feel hazy. You might feel a little lightheaded, dreamy. Get out of that before you have to do anything. Okay? Meditation does take practice. So you can practice and really get, I don't want to say you get deeper necessarily, because it is a lighter state of hypnosis, because you are guiding yourself. And so it does get easier with time if you feel like you're not there or you're not achieving what you want to the first couple times. That's okay. Practice. Just keep going. Okay? And then a little shameless plug. I have my book, Shadow to Light Work, An Intentional Journey of Healing, Self-Discovery, and Purpose. And then at a glimpse, oh, there's a glare. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get better at this, I swear. And then right there at the bottom, is my website, astahypnotherapy.com. And then if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. And next week, we're going to be talking about how to know if somebody's for you or not. This is where you're going to see some stuff from me. I'm very passionate about this because I'm tired of people in general. There's a lot of different points to that video that I have. So it should be interesting. We'll see if I can control my irritation, I guess. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow along if you're interested. And then we'll go ahead and get into that. We'll go ahead and do a little light video on boundaries. Just as you're working through the shadow work. And I think what's really important is that, who's for you and who's not video. So that's going to be next week, and it'll help protect you through your shadow work. It'll help you understand, and it'll also help bring up things that, you can neutralize yourself on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for being here. See you later. Bye.